On Beyond the OR, Dr. B will take you beyond plastic surgery. Listen as he talks with doctors, friends, people who have inspired him along the way, and patients whose lives he's changed. With your host, Dr. Kevin Brenner.
Hi, so here we are in the studio with Dr. Kevin Brenner. We are starting a new podcast, and Dr. Brenner is a double board certified plastic surgeon. The podcast is called Beyond the OR with Dr. B. That is our loving way that we call Dr. Brenner. So, Dr. Brenner, welcome to your own show.
It's good to have me.
So, tell me, what made you want to do the podcast?
Well, interesting. I have a very fortunate position in my job. I get to interact with people from all walks of life, and it's just very interesting. There's many times. I mean, I'm supposed to be focused on medicine and surgery and post-operative care and all that when I see patients in the office, but I interface with people, and sometimes I just come in the room and I'll sit down and we start talking and get completely off subject, and I just find myself interested learning about their story and their background and what got them to my office in the first place. Really nothing about the actual procedure that they need, want, etc. And so I just thought this was a really cool avenue to kind of dive deeper into people's backgrounds.
Well, and I love it. Not only that, you have a very dry wit about you, I got to say, which is kind of funny. A lot of interesting people that just on the roster of guests that you're going to have in the future, we have everything from huge attorneys to doctors, writers, comedy writers. I mean, it's all these people, interesting people that you've met along the way. Plus, let's be real, you have a face for TV.
Oh, wow. You're too kind. I will never argue with you. Yeah, so, when I was a wee medical student, I interfaced with an attending. An attending is like a supervising physician.
Right.
And actually, when I went to medical school, I intended to become a pediatrician. I never thought I would be a plastic surgeon.
I didn't know that.
And so I was on my pediatrics rotation, and I still to this day can picture this attending. We'd go on rounds, and he was just this, regal kind of personality, and he used to say, he said, I will always find people interesting as long as I'm interested in people. So, and I just, for whatever reason, that is always stuck with me. And, because there's so much more to every single individual that you interact with than I get in my 10-minute visit in the office.
Right. As a ex-patient or patient of yours, I got to say that...
Did you quit already?
No, I didn't. I
Fired.
Pulled back really quick. Yeah, it's so interesting. Like, you go in, and a lot of times when you're going to the doctor, everything is kind of presentational, and you never get to really know the doctor on a personal level, or see snips of their personality. It's basically very,
cut and dry.
Cut and dry. And so I feel like you have this great demeanor too. Like, there's a comfort when you go to your office. There's a feeling of you're being heard, and you bring that little bit of that wit, that humor that's always good, especially when you're in a doctor's office. That little wit, that humor really makes a patient feel good.
I mean, I appreciate that. I really do try. I've always been very aware, cognizant of bedside manner. I think it's so important, and it's something that I really, I guess now subconsciously, but have consciously worked on my entire career. And you notice it. I mean, I've been a patient too, and
I hear doctors are the worst patients.
Traditionally, but I'm actually pretty good.
Are you?
I'm actually a pretty good patient. I'm a good surgery patient. I do
ask your
okay
doctors.
afterwards. You can ask them. I'll give you their numbers. If I get a cold, forget it.
Then you're a big
But like
baby.
if I have to have surgery, it's not a big deal. But like there's I've had serious things in the hospital, and there's a distinct difference. I mean, I am keenly aware of it, of how nurses behave and how residents behave and how attendings behave, and it's like when you don't know. I mean, even as a surgeon, when you are the patient, the whole dynamic shifts. Even though I'm very aware of everything, you're not in control of anything. And that for a Virgo plastic surgeon, that is like the death knell to not be in control.
Oh, he's a Virgo.
Yeah.
AKA control.
Oh yeah, like
Control issues.
OCD. Yes, 100%.
Oh my God. So, Dr. Brenner, you went from pediatrics, like that was originally what you wanted, right?
That was my intent. I never actually.
Why plastic surgery? And on top of that, you're double board certified. What does that mean?
What it means is that you've taken the steps to become basically certified in your specialty of interest.
Right.
And if I'm being perfectly candid, any physician that you go to should be certified in their specialty, because it means that they did a residency, that they went to medical school, then they completed a residency that was a legitimate residency certified by there's a governing body called the ACGME that certifies all residencies in the United States. And it just means that it's approved because they have certain criteria in terms of what you need to learn, how many hours you have to put in, what tests you have to do, all the hurdles. And then also pass the board certification. So there's, it just shows that you have learned a minimum, at least a minimum amount of material, if you will, to be considered safe in that specialty. And that's, you just want to meet the standard of care.
And why plastic surgery? Like what led you down that road?
So I went, when I was a medical student, I actually got very interested in surgery in general from my roommate at the time, who, my mom passed away when I was my third year of medical school, so I took some time off. So my whole third year of medical school, my whole schedule got messed up.
Wow.
And
well,
so
wait, can I stop and say that having a traumatic experience like that in the middle of medical school, I mean, that in itself, just having to deal with something like that is hard. I can't even imagine going to medical school and having to deal with that, with the death of your mom. How did that affect you?
Yeah, it wasn't easy, but at the same time, she had been starting to get sick when I was in my senior year of college. And so she knew that I wanted to do this. I was in Chicago, she was in Los Angeles, and she just knew that I wanted to do this. She wanted me to do this, and she insisted that I was actually going to postpone medical school for a year or two, and she was adamantly against it and said, under no circumstances. She's like, you've been trying to do this. This is what you've been wanting to do for so long. You got in. You are going. You're doing it.
Oh, what a gift she gave you.
So even, I took some time off when she got really ill, so I could spend it with her. But even with that, like I knew that she wanted me to do it. So after she passed away, I took off that 6-week period of time, which was like one rotation, and then I was back in Chicago. And so my surgery rotation got kicked to my very last rotation, because that was the rotation I was supposed to be on when I took time off. And so I ended up doing it, and I just love the aspect of it. I love the fact that, at least where I trained, the hospital and medical school that I trained at, it's like the surgeons were the bomb. Like, it was like, when all hell broke loose, when there was no one else to call, it was always like surgery was the last resort. Like,
Grey's Anatomy.
But there's some, in a hospital setting, there's a lot of truth to that in terms of, like, primary care, other specialists, all important, like super important. But like when someone's really ill and you don't know what's going on, and sometimes you just need to have surgery, and they just felt like the surgeons were always kind of in control. They were it. And I was like, that's what I want to do.
They were the cool kids.
And I just knew, and there's a lot of, I'm very technical, I'm very creative, always have been into photography and woodworking and stuff growing up.
Very artistic, because I think there's an art form to plastic surgery.
There is to plastic surgery, yeah.
And also you do a lot of reconstructive.
Right, and there's a lot, that takes a very creative eye as well.
A very artistic eye,
particular,
yeah.
It does.
Yeah. Are you the only doctor in your family?
I'm the only doctor in my immediate family. I have a very chaotic Brady Bunch-ish family because I grew up with my mom. My parents divorced when I was 3. I grew up with my mom and my older brother. We moved to Beverly Hills and we were in this tiny little apartment. And my mom met this fabulous guy and got remarried when I was about 6, and then my dad remarried later that year. They had a kid together. My stepdad had previously been married, has 4 kids. So I have 2 stepbrothers, 2 stepsisters.
Oh
I have a half brother. I have my full brother. And then after my mom passed away, my stepdad remarried. His wife, who I'm very close with now, was previously married with 4 kids. So they have like 21 grandkids.
You really are the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
And plus, the Brady Bunch plus, because it's more than 6, right?
Yeah. We couldn't even fit in those boxes.
Yeah.
Most people watching this are not even going to know what I'm talking about.
It's wordly. What is that? Word?
Wordle?
I'm Cuban,
Wordle?
so yeah, Wordle.
I'm obsessed with Wordle.
Are you really?
I'm obsessed with Wordle. There's now Wordle 2, which apparently there was a lawsuit, so it's Word Hurdle.
Oh,
6
God.
letters.
Don't even
and
get me
Quordle,
started.
which is 4 different words at the same time.
You know what that
and now
means to
my
me?
friend got me turned on to Spelling Bee. I don't know if you know, that's through the New York Times.
You're asking a dyslexic if
Wow.
they. No, I could do word find, but that's about it. I'm dyslexic. Remember, I told you when you get emails from me, don't judge.
I
I'm dyslexic.
I never do.
So, Dr. Brenner, what can the listeners expect to hear? Like, I love this doctor side of you because you have these two, like you have an alter ego. Like you have this very professional doctor, reconstructive surgeon, plastic surgeon, double board certified. And then there's this like really cool other side to you also, which is you are an amazing cook. You love to travel. You are athletic. You're a fountain of information.
Well, wow, that's when you put it on paper. It sounds
Yeah,
pretty
you're
good.
like, I sound good.
Yeah, I do because it's I work very hard, but I work very hard so that I can provide for my family. I've always said all I care about is keeping a roof over my head and food on the table for my kids and getting them through school. And I have 2 girls, and that's
you're outnumbered.
One and one soon to be teenager, and yeah, it's
That's gonna be fun.
so that's really my primary goal, and it goes so quickly, as you know, and I'm trying right now. I'm very busy with work, but also want to spend as much time with them now while they still want to be friendly with me. Because pretty soon they're going to be off to college and
they're going to be like, Dad, drop me off the corner. My son is going to college, and I've called my girlfriend Farah, and all I've done is bawl on the phone. I don't know how I'm going to get through it. Like we're like this, all 3 of us. It's all boys in my house except for me. Even my dogs are boys.
I don't want to impose, but when I went to Wisconsin for undergraduate, and my mom and my stepdad flew me out. We flew to Chicago, drove to Madison. They got me checked in the dorm and all that, and said goodbye. And
did she fall out?
My mom was hysterically crying the entire drive back to Chicago and the flight back to Los Angeles. She was a mess.
I'm Cuban, so it's going to be a telenovela. Whatever Aiden's school he's going to go to, they're going to be like, your mom is really dramatic, but it's all going to be coming from a real place. I'm a mess. Like, I don't know how I'm going to deal with it.
It's going to be okay.
I know. I just have
Empty
to stay
nesters.
busy. Yeah.
We'll keep you busy.
Okay, I love that. So if you had one word to describe yourself, because you have all these facets, what word comes to mind?
Wow, that's a good one. Um, I've never thought of that before. One word? There's more than one.
I know, but let's
Um,
so give me multiple. Which one do you identify with the most?
I would say creative,
That was my first thought.
um, honest, dependable, um,
Intelligent,
trustworthy,
good-looking, right?
trustworthy.
Right.
Those were not even in the top 10. I mean, I think, and I think people closest to me think that I'm very real. I mean, there's a lot of nonsense in my business, especially in Beverly Hills.
Exactly.
I mean,
That's what I was just gonna
there's
say.
just a lot of craziness, and I really try to keep it real, because at the end of the day, I am a physician. Before I'm anything, I am physician, and then surgeon, and then a plastic surgeon, and a lot of people forget that, especially when they see various things on television and movies and documentaries and like some of these reality shows. They forget that what we do is A, real surgery, B, has lots of risk associated with it, just like any other surgical procedure. Even though most of the patients are relatively healthy, I mean, a lot of my patients are not. I mean, especially with all my patients who have breast implant illness, there's a lot of
Autoimmune problems.
there's a lot of everything problem. I mean, that's like I read a book about all the different things that can happen, and people forget that it's not just like hop, skip, and a jump, come in and have a facelift and leave. Sometimes it is,
Yeah.
but it's real surgery. I mean, the genesis of plastic surgery was not cosmetic surgery; it was reconstruction that came out of World War II, when soldiers were really getting seriously injured, but able to survive some of these injuries, and then plastic surgeons came in to kind of
Help.
fix their wounds.
Right.
That's really the genesis of it. So it wasn't meant to be, any of these reality TV shows.
Oh yeah, it's and there's something to be said. What I love the most about your practice is it's natural. All of your work looks very natural, aesthetically beautiful, but natural, as opposed to a lot of times you see somebody, and I'm all about the natural. I say every woman wants to do something because, like, aging gracefully for me means I'm going to do something. I mean,
Right.
but you don't want to look like you've had all this stuff.
Don't
A
wanna
lot of
look-
times it
look
makes you look even older.
Done or weird. No,
Yeah.
I agree, because there's a lot of that
So you see
happening.
these 30-year-old girls, and you're like, what are they, 30 or 50? You can't tell how old they are.
Especially in entertainment, especially in Los Angeles, because there's a lot of pressure when you have. I mean, I've had taken care of patients who are homeless, up to billionaires, and everything in between, and there's a lot of pressure, especially with celebrities, because a lot of celebrities think that they know, or they just have it made up in their mind, and a lot of people kind of cave to that. I mean, that's ultimately that's why Michael Jackson died in getting propofol in his home, is because
That's crazy.
this doctor caved to his desire, and I'm not willing to compromise that.
Well, and that's really important, because there is, I remember when I was younger going to a plastic surgeon, and you really aren't so in tune, but he was like, oh, it's nothing. It's like you're gonna feel like you've been working out, and it was not nothing. It was like, I wish that he would have been honest and mentally prepared me so that I could be mentally prepared, as opposed to thinking I was just going to be sore like after working out.
Right.
So there's a lot of, I think, being very ethical and honest, which is, I feel, being a patient that you encompass, and you have now this huge group of women that are sick, and with breast implant illness, which some believe it's true, some don't. Some believe that it's not their implants, and not everybody that has implants is going to get sick.
Right.
But you have these women, and you're just so kind, and
Thank you.
you believe them, and
Well,
that is
I mean,
something that's really important.
I do, but also I've also seen them get better. And I probably, if you had asked me 8 years ago, before I got really, knee deep in this, I don't know that I would have the same answer, because I just see it every day, and patients are getting better and feeling better, and just their lives really are changing. I mean, plastic surgery is life altering in many respects, no matter what you do. But this is there's a difference between building self-confidence and changing your life so that you can actually get out of bed in the morning and function and take care of your family and go to work and all that. And there's some people that have been really sick who it was really just killing their life.
Well, without getting really long-winded with this, I suffered from BII, and I was extremely sick. And when I came into your office, I mean, I have pictures. I'm like, my skin is gray, my eyes are dark. I mean, I was really sick. I couldn't get out of bed at times. I couldn't walk because I had these burning sensation at the bottom of my feet all the time. I couldn't move my hands in the morning. They would hurt so badly. The day after surgery, my color is different, my eyes are different, and I'm a different human being. I lost participation in my son's life for almost 2 years because
I hear that all the time.
Yeah, and it was killing me. I'm like, my time is limited, so I want to thank you for that. And it's been life altering, and you did such a great job on top of it, if I may say so myself.
Okay.
My husband thanks you.
Okay.
And I'm just excited for everybody to continue to listen, watch the podcast. You're going to have some spectacular guests.
It's going to be fun.
And
thank you for doing this, right?
Oh my God, I love doing this.
I probably never would have done it if it wasn't for you.
I know, I kind of talked him into, pushed him a little bit, but it just took a little poke here and there.
A little bit.
All right,
I mean,
guys.
it's just my second job.
Yeah.
Or third, I'm not sure.
Well, Dr. Brenner, why don't you tell your listeners where they can find you?
So if you need to get a hold of me, the best thing is to call my office. And our office phone number is area code 310-777-5400. You can also go to my website, which is the letter K, letter B, my initials, at kevinbrennermd.com. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. And you can DM me through there, but the most expeditious way is just to call the office.
All right, great. Well, we're looking forward to entertaining you guys, and we have some spectacular guests that I can't wait to get to next week.
I know. It's going to be fun.
I know.
Thanks for listening to Beyond the OR with Dr. B. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. In the meantime, connect with Dr. B on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Kevin Brenner MD and KevinBrennerMD.com. Until next time.